For you there. Now, go electronic for your banking needs seems to be the norm these days, with 95% of bank transactions now being executed online. And to get more on the new generation, the next generation of banking, we welcome our guest for the last part of Asia Confidential, Brett King, author of Bank 2.0 and also founder of User Strategy, which is a boutique advisory firm that counts HSBC, Cathay Pacific, and IBM amongst its clients. He's also an industry advisor on the Huffington Post, and he joins us from our Singapore studios today. Brett, good to see you. So did you hear those results from Amex? It seems that consumers are back in the U.S., back using those credit cards again.
Yeah, I think there's a positive future for credit cards online. There's a lot of concerns around security and so forth, but it's a fact of life that people are more mobile and they want access to these things. And mobility is forcing us to look at the way we interact with consumers in a different way. And this is what Bank 2.0 is really about, the intersection of changing customer behavior and retail banking business models, and the fact that retail banking, as it is traditionally, really doesn't fit the way consumers work now.
Yeah, so tell me about these behavioral changes. Yeah, they're going online more often, but what else?
Well, I talk about 3 phases in the book. So the first phase was the introduction of the internet. So this changed our transactional behavior. Back in the mid-80s, it was quite common for us to go into a branch and do a lot of stuff with checks and cash. But now that's shifted because the internet banking is so convenient and because we're time poor. So we do a lot more of these things through the internet. Then when the BlackBerry and the smartphone, the Apple iPhone and these devices started to come along, this also shifted us towards more mobility. So as a result, these have had a marked change in our behavior, the way we do our day-to-day interactions with organizations. And this is it also empowers customers because we're in control. Whereas previously the banks would say you have to do it by our rules. You have to come into the branch between 9 and 3 or 9 to 5, and you have to sign this piece of paper. So these technologies have started to put more power in the consumer's hands.
Okay, so is that the future of banking then, that it just goes more mobile?
Well, mobile internet banking has already been extremely successful. If you look at Japan and Korea, Asia leads the way in respect to a lot of these mobile issues, mobile payments, for example, in that part of the world. Mobile internet banking in the United States, Bank of America's had huge success with it. Out here in Asia, OCBC, they're seeing a 300% faster take-up of mobile internet banking than they had with standard internet banking. So mobile is definitely the future.
Yeah, what about the infrastructure to support this sort of capacity? Is it there yet, or do we still have to wait a few years before it actually really goes fully integrated into society?
Well, that's a good question. Again, the innovation in terms of Asian telecommunications infrastructure, in many ways we're ahead of the world. If you look at things like GCash in Malaysia, the mobile payments remittance capability there, if you look at mobile data capability, we have very good infrastructure here. But the banks have been a little slow to take up this from a customer responsiveness perspective. Many banks have still not released an application for iPhone, for example, globally, which is an example. Well, there's less than 3% of banks globally have an iPhone app, right? And they generally, it's crazy.
No,
and then
but the iPhone has like 72% market share in Japan. I mean, aren't they behind the times here? Get moving. Well,
no, in Asia, again, it's quite strong. You look at Jibun Bank, who's got an excellent mobile banking platform. In fact, they're a mobile-only bank. Shinsei Bank, again, OCBC here, DBS, Citibank. They've all got a strong mobile play. But in the rest of the world, they're a little bit slower.
Hey, Andrew, do you feel secure doing your banking on your mobile phone?
I have to give a twofold answer because I'm terribly old-fashioned. So I had to break a resistance level before I actually trusted the internet. In the same way that it's going to take quite a while for me to read a book on a pad, read a book on a slate computer. Right. But then, of course, the convenience is very important. But equally, I must admit, I get incredibly irritated when I say, if you want to press 2, if you want to press 4, I immediately immediately go to press 0 because I like to speak to a live person. Okay. When there is a specific problem.
So Brett, I mean, those are very familiar issues that a lot of people have with going mobile or going online to do their banking.
Okay, well, you know, you're right, Andrew. Technology has tended to be impersonal, and as a result, you know, we still want that personal flavour, you know, that level of service that we get with a face-to-face interaction. But you know, why has the iPhone, you know, as you said, 72% take-up in Japan for smartphones? Why has the iPhone been so successful? Because it's so simple. So simplicity and the user experience or the customer experience utilizing the technology is very important. And that's where we have a bit of a weakness in terms of delivery within the banking sector, where we don't really focus on developing applications that work more seamlessly for customers.
Brett, nice talking to you. Thanks for your time. There you have it, Brett King, author of Bank 2.0, and of course, the wonderful Andrew Ferris of BNP Wealth Management. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good weekend, Andrew.